Step 1, Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, fuck everybody, just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gon' rise to the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. So
this is Layla Santinello. She has been missing since June 27th, 2023, and she disappeared from Kingsport, Tennessee. Chronicles of Olivia and I went out to Kingsport, Tennessee on several different trips, searching for Layla Santinello or any information leading to her whereabouts. These are my thoughts on this case.
well, I have to be honest with you. I was hoping by now we would have found Layla. So this has been very hard. You know, we want to bring her home. We want to make sure that her family knows what happened to her, I think is really the most important. Her family has been struggling so much to find answers, and they have been met with lies after lies after lies from a lot of people that proclaim to be this young lady's friends. Just like to speak to them just for a moment and just say, if you know something, say something, because her life does matter. For the family members of these people that know what happened to her, it could have been your daughter. It could have been your granddaughter. You need to ask them to stand up and speak up.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Lunch break to all. Happy lunch break to all. I hope everybody's doing well today. I know there was a couple of posts that were from this morning's live that crept its way into this live. So I just might as well just run through these because I have to tell you, I went in there. Do you know we received 12 memberships this morning, 12 memberships for this new channel. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much. It's nice to see you all here today. And we're going to be going over this whole Kelly Siegler thing and the cold justice rather, that we're talking about. If you notice, look, I'm wearing the bullhorns. Right? I'm wearing the bullhorns. I think they're looking a little snazzy if I say so myself. I gotta say, if you guys weren't here this morning as I opened my gifts, you guys are going to want to go back and watch this morning's episode. And actually, it was a really great show. I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed Turkey Man being on there. I enjoyed receiving the word. I enjoyed the Christmas story. And then I enjoyed our conversations after that for Summer Wells. As a matter of fact, I actually downloaded the Summer Wells video, and I'm going to actually be separating that and uploading that as a video because I thought it was a really good and healthy conversation on Summer Wells. So be looking for that if you don't feel like watching the whole entire live and you just want to watch Summer Wells. It's actually being uploaded right now along with another video because I'm doing a documentary of my journey on the Summer Wells case. And so I'm just now starting this production. And, I was giving the audience this morning a sneak peek, but I had to downgrade the video so much, like even the color, it was like really foggy. It was, the color didn't pop on it. It wasn't the quality that I had it in. So I actually am in the process of uploading it to YouTube. I'm not going to release it, obviously. But I figured at least it will be of better quality. And that's what we want. I wanted you guys to see it as a good quality, right? And I was struggling. I played it a couple times. I even downloaded the file that the 4K was in. But when it uploaded to StreamYard, it turned like my red print orange. At least on my side it did. And I'm like, it just wasn't good. It wasn't good. So I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of that as we're going in. I'm expecting this to take 2 to 3 weeks. Hopefully, it's probably going to take me just a tad bit longer. But my completion date, I'm hoping to have it done by 3 weeks. I've got everything here. I've got it planned out on how I want it designed and how I want it laid out. It's just doing it. I'm realizing what I have in my brain and actually applying it digitally. It takes time. It does take time, but this will be interesting. It'll be fun. I think I just want to do it to see if I can do it, to be honest with you. And I think so far it's looking pretty good to start out. Good morning. It's me, Jen. It's nice to see you. Pebbles, Lulu's Nana, Bullhorn Betty is obviously present. Otherwise, we wouldn't be on the live. Unicorn, Indiana. I got to tell you, thank you for that. That sweatshirt or that sweater. I don't even know what it's called. It's a hoodie, but I wore that it's getting cold in Florida and I was out there in my yard and I'm telling you, it was just perfect. It wasn't too heavy and it wasn't too light. So it was perfect. And I just wanted to personally tell you, thank you. I won't tell you I slept in it, but I slept, I slept in it too. I turned off my air conditioning at the house because it's been so cold, but sometimes at night it gets a little chilly. So Summy, it's nice to see you. Second thesis, good afternoon. I keep saying good morning, but it's good afternoon. Our beautiful Sonia's in the house. It is almost a little late for Christmas orders, but you never know what Sonia's got. She's a miracle worker. If you need those custom shirts and gifts, reach out to her. Reach out to her. The Real Me Too, it's nice to see you. Oh, that reminds me. The Real Me Too called me and she says, Betty, I'm like, what? She goes, I didn't see one of the gifts I gave you. And I'm like, what do you mean you didn't see one of the gifts she gave me? She goes, you didn't open one of my gifts. I opened all your gifts. Betty, I think there's another box in the box. I said, I threw it in the recycle container. It's outside. Like the recycling's coming, like now. So I run out there. I pull the box out. Sure enough, there's one more gift. Just when you don't think America can be any shorter on tape. I asked her, I said, is there any tape left in America? I mean, I just don't think there's any tape left in America. I think the tape is all gone. Let's see what the note says. It has a note on it. It says, Betty, here is something to drive you nuts. Here is something to drive you nuts. Okay, let's see what it is. Uh-oh, it's a box. It doesn't really have anything on it except some Chinese writing. Oh, it's a bullhorn button. It's official. It's a bullhorn button. We have a bullhorn button for Bullhorn Betty. Oh my God, this is great. This is so good. Stop the presses. Stop the presses. Right? Stop the presses. Holy smoke. Holy smoke. So now we got something to...
Now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
I got more buttons. You guys are great. I love it. I absolutely love it. I got to tell you, this morning I have just been tickled pink. Tickled pink. Oh Lord. That means more tape. America has a tape shortage right now, and it's Me Too's fault. Hi, Chad. I love this new time. Yeah, well, I'm just trying to do something different for the lunch rush people, people that just need something to take their mind off. Their mind off stuff. So thank you, The Real Me Too. That was cute. Lulu's Nana, it's nice to see you. I think I said hi to you, Sammy, but I didn't know Sweet Misery is up in the house. I hope you are feeling better. I really do. I hope you're feeling better. If you guys don't know, Sweet Misery and I collabed on Major John Kaler. We did that on her channel. So if you want to learn about Major John, he's the other quadruple homicide in Idaho that happened shortly after Brian Koberger's quadruple homicide. Anyways, go over there and sub her up. But when we did that collab, she had COVID. She was we actually had it scheduled for the night before, and something told me, because she had just found out she had COVID, and I'm like, if you need to cancel, just let me know. It's not a big deal. I mean, there's nothing worse than being absolutely completely utterly sick and trying to run a show. It's no good for anybody. So anyway, she's like, no, we're gonna go. And then she reached out, she goes, maybe I spoke too soon. And I said, I kind of figured, because when you first get sick and you're sick, it hasn't quite caught up to you yet. But once it does, it's like a freight train hitting you. So we were able to do it the next day. And so she's just been kind of not feeling that well. So right before Christmas too. So it really sucks. So we just want to say hi, and I hope you're feeling much, much better. Peace, love, and life. It's nice to see you, love. I hope everything's well with you. I hope you guys are all ready for Christmas, which reminds me, if I do say so myself, might as well do this one. Hold on a second. Oh, there's my Christmas sounds. We'll do this one. Why not? Get us in the Christmas spirit. I love it. I love it. I love it. I got this new one that has buttons on it for Christmas. So we got a bunch of them. We got two different.
Merry,
Oh, sorry.
Merry Christmas.
I like number one. We got a fireplace. Keep those flames burning. That's one. Here's two. I think I like one better. Then we got sleigh bells. We even have church bells. And then the last one, the toy train. All right, now if you're not in the Christmas spirit after me pushing the Christmas buttons, there's something seriously wrong with you. I'm just letting you know. Because everybody should be in the spirit of Christmas 5 days before Christmas. Just saying. Just saying. It's nice. Oh, Miss Robin's up in the house. It's nice to see you, love. It's nice to see you. Read me. You are now a real me. You are in me. You have no idea. If you weren't here for that, that was funny. Okay. Just when I thought I was through all the tape, there was more tape. There is a shortage of tape in the United States of America. I am absolutely confident in that statement. Absolutely confident. I think I got through everybody, so it's nice to see you. Welcome. This is the afternoon edition of the Bullhorn Betty channel. We have been doing morning, noon, and night shows. Morning, noon, and night shows. And we forgot to read our book this morning. But before we get started, I have been trying to work on a documentary. I just started this. I've just made my decision. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get through this. I'm going to make it look nice and beautiful. And however long it takes me to get it done is how long it takes me to get it done, as long as it's done within the next 3 to 4 weeks, of course. Of course, Mike, it's nice to see you. So without further ado, hopefully this quality comes in better. I can't guarantee it, but I'm praying for it. Okay. I'm praying for it. God is good. God is good. I believe in it. I believe in it. And hopefully the quality is much better than it was this morning.
In a quarter mile, sharp right onto Ben Hill Road.
Okay. It should be like right here.
In a quarter mile, sharp right onto Ben Hill Road.
Our sign is down. Our Summer West sign is down. You can even see their house now.
It's a little better.
Sharp right onto Ben Hill Road.
And on YouTube, that's the problem. But it's much better than clearer than it was. It was all foggy.
In 600 feet, you will arrive at your destination.
Look at this. It looks, I can't see nothing.
You have arrived.
You can't even see their house with all this great greenery.
Can you do me one favor, Miss Olivia? Can you go ribbit?
Ribbit, ribbit.
I think that whole transition where it goes directly to her, I think it's actually worn on me, because now that I see it in there, it's a perfect transition to go right into the beginning of our journey, you know, where she's sitting on that rock, and then it kind of fades right into our very first trip. And so I don't know. I think it's actually that part that I told you I put in there just as a poke to Olivia. I don't know. I think I like it. I think it's cute. I think it would be it actually where it actually is in the intro. I actually like as well. So I don't know. It might stay. It might go. I don't know. Every time I watch it, I'm like, you know what? I really think that's cute. I really like that. I really like that. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to see you, Elsie. Nice to see you. So we're going to be getting into it. I've already wasted about 20 minutes just on yapping here, but we're going to get into Kelly Siegler and the story behind Kelly Siegler. If you guys remember, not yesterday, because yesterday I had to run we got an extra gift. I had to run it all the way to Clearwater. It cut out like 3 hours of my day. By the time I got back here, I was so far behind in research and in getting everything together that I'm just like, you know what? I was on the phone. I'm like, by the time I got off the phone and by the time I finished this, it was almost 11 o'clock at night. And I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go to sleep. It was like, I don't know. You know, I even tried turning the TV on and I'm like, I just kept working and working and working. But we were supposed to go on part 2 yesterday about the Kelly Siegler story. And since there was a space between Monday and today, I figured I'd just take a few moments to bring you guys up full circle on why we're even having this conversation at all. So on the 18th, there was an article that came out and it was called The Secrets of Stardom. And the reason why it caught my attention is because it has one of my favorite people in it that were on one of my favorite shows at the time. And it was Cold Justice. And it was Kelly Siegler. Like, I love Kelly Siegler. I am a major Kelly Siegler fan. She was at CrimeCon this year. She has a huge following. Many people like us. What I love about her is it's real life. You know, she is a real prosecutor. She knows what she needs in order to win cases against these bad guys. So her knowledge and past experience is crucial. Her resume is amazing for a prosecutor. It shows that she is an animal. It shows that she really a go-getter, I think, is what even the article says. You know, when it goes back and starts looking back on her life, you know, she is a go-getter. She comes from a very humble family. But anyways, I mean, all that set aside, when I read this article, because I love her so much, I felt myself getting angry. I felt that emotion of like, how dare you, right? Coming out in me as I was reading this article. It was pulling out some emotion. And I'm like, you know how I feel about emotion, especially when it comes to this stuff here. You know, I have to step back and I had to say, you need to leave that. You need to check your emotion at the door. You need to take your emotion hat off and put your Bullhorn Betty hat on and read this. And so I did. And I thought, you know what? There are some really good information and key points here that I have to agree with in part. And so when I got over the anger of the article and how biased the article is, which the article is biased, by the way, and I will be explaining why I feel this is a one-sided article to begin with, and it has nothing to do with my affection or you know, my woman crush on Kelly Siegler, right? I promise you, it has nothing to do with that. It is. I'm saying that after I put my emotional hat off and put my Bullhorn Betty hat on, I'm as Bullhorn Betty, I'm telling you, this is a flawed article and biased. And I've researched the facts of this case enough that I can say that. Now, could I be spot on everything? Of course not. This is more commentary and opinion based, more so than anything else, right? So what I am going to do is I am going to move this over to kind of our intro video as we get to talking about this. This just kind of just tells you about Cold Justice and what Cold Justice is, and I think everybody, most of us should know, but maybe we don't. So let me go ahead and pull this up.
Cold Justice is a TV show unlike any other show that exists on TV, because what we do is go out to small counties and cities all across the country where murder cases are waiting to be solved and worked on, and do our very best to see if we can do whatever we can to try and put those cases together to get justice for families. And it's real. I'm a former prosecutor, so I know what it takes to put a case together in the courtroom. I'm working with cops that have worked hundreds of murder cases in their careers, and we bring that kind of experience and knowledge and know-how everywhere we go all across the country, trying to truly get something done for so many families out there that are hurting. It's just what happens when we meet the families. You know who you're going to be meeting as far as the relationship to the murder victim, but when you look into their eyes and you have them tell you what they've gone through, what the criminal justice system has done to further break their heart, and you feel their pain and frustration, and they tell you about their loved one, how do you not feel that? How do you not want to do your very best to help those people? I don't think that you can ever quit feeling that if you do this job.
So there you have it. That kind of brings us in full circle about who Cold Justice is, what they did. This was a team. They comprised of about 5 team members that had a lot of experience in solving crime and prosecuting cases. During their time there, I just want to let you know, during the 6 seasons of Cold Justice, it is often boasted about their record. Out of the 6 seasons, they had 49 arrests and 21 convictions. 21 convictions of unsolved crimes, most crimes that were cold cases. They are an amazing team and absolutely deserve accolades for that. But the issue is before she was on Cold Justice, she was actually a real, legit prosecutor. She was a real, legit prosecutor in Texas. And after she started reaching stardom, it started getting her unwanted attention, which we find common. We're dealing with it right now with Becky Hill. We see it all the time with other people. Look at P. Diddy. I mean, he started becoming a target. Next thing you know, he's being sued right and left from everybody under the sun. So during her time, during Cold Justice, they had a litany of defamation cases because, they were basically accusing people publicly of potentially doing these crimes and investigating them. So she had weathered all of that. She's received a wealth of following, loyal following. I can tell you, I am one that follows this lady. I love her work. I think she has a wealth of knowledge and experience that that we watch and can learn from. So we have utmost respect for her, but we don't really know her before Cold Justice. I've never looked into her. This is the first time I've ever even looked under the hood. I have to be honest with you. I like her, right? And so going around full circle from our Monday meeting on this, we learned what she did, and we learned about a case called Preble. And this is really what this entire article, this 4 chapters, is really centered around. The very first chapter was kind of just the background information, and then it goes back to a very specific case. And there are actually 2 cases that are referenced here. And the reason why there's a second case referenced in this article is because 2 inmates got together. They ended up being housed. And as they were talking like in the yard, they started finding out that there was a lot of similarities in their convictions. That some of the same tactics, prosecutorial trial tactics, were used in both and deployed about the same way. And so they're wanting to be freed from jail. They started manifesting this situation. So I think it's very important that we go back to and I don't know if I'm saying his name right. My hooked on phonics is broken, right? And so I think it's Pribble. It's Prible. Pribble. I don't know. It's Pribble. I'm going to call it Pribble until I hear somebody say it differently. It's basically how we're going to work this, okay? And so it's not that I'm trying to mislead you. It's not that I'm right. It is just simply that my hooked on phonics is broke. It's promise you. It is just that simple. Okay, it really is just that simple. So when we go back to this, they start talking about this and they say some of the most disturbing evidence of Siegler's conduct. So this is the defense attorney. We know how defense attorneys are, right? We know that they're wanting to do anything. They're going to grab, because we talked about it with the Alec Murdaugh, so this should all be fresh in your mind. They're going to grab at any little scintilla, microscopic thing that they can grab on a hold of to try to push an appeals through, because that's their job. If they don't do that, they can be they can have malfeasance on them, malpractice, right? If they don't do it, they have to do it. Any scintilla of a possibility of getting that conviction overturned, that attorney needs to exercise it. So I don't blame the defense attorneys for attacking Kelly at all. I really don't. It's their job. That's what they're supposed to do. If they have a hint of impropriety, right? It doesn't mean that that anything was done wrong. It doesn't mean that anything was done out of the normal course of business. It just means that there is a possibility it could be. Remember that hint of impropriety? That's all it needs. It doesn't need to happen. It just needs to have the appearance of it. So if it has an appearance of it, they can latch on to that and use it. And that's what many defense attorneys do. It's what they did in Alec Murdaugh's case. It's what they're doing, what they did in this particular, the Pribble case, in my opinion. But it says some of the most disturbing evidence Siegler's conduct is documented in files of a case that has largely gone unnoticed. And it's the 2002 conviction of Ronald Jeffrey Pribble. Pribble was sent to death row for the murder of a Houston family. And it was a horrific murder. And I want to tell you, a 22-month-old child died as well. So I've got no pity for this animal. I really don't. I've reviewed the case. We'll just keep going. The evidence tying him to the crime scene was entirely circumstantial. He has maintained his innocence for more than 20 years. Well, the details of this crime, I would be maintaining my innocence for 20 years as well, because I would never want to be associated with a despicable and disgusting crime such as this. But let's face it, cases, and this is what we talk about on this channel all the time, lots of cases are found guilty on circumstantial evidence alone. People keep trying to say direct evidence, circumstantial evidence. Evidence is evidence in the eyes of the court. As long as you can show that the evidence is leading to the narration that you're providing, then you're most likely going to get a guilty verdict. If it's not, you're probably going to get a not guilty verdict. But this illusion that we don't have circumstantial cases that are convicted all the time, let me just take that illusion and that misconception away from you. A lot of cases, and I mean a lot, are tried on circumstantial evidence alone and won. In 2020, and this is when this case kind of heated up, because the crime actually happened. This Pribble crime actually happened to this Houston family in 1999, and he was convicted in 2002. So it wasn't until 2020 that this particular case started getting kind of a renewed push to get him off. And again, I think what the situation that set itself up in this was the fact that these two inmates ended up being housed together and probably just befriended each other, and through casual conversation realized they had the same prosecutor, started complaining and moaning and groaning about how they didn't do it, and finding out that they were both railroaded by a jailhouse informant. That's what it sounds like. That's exactly what it sounds like. But in 2020, a federal judge overturned Pribble's conviction on the basis of Siegler's suppression of evidence, ordering the state to retry or release him within 6 months. Instead, Texas fought the order, pursuing the Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to reinstate Pribble's death sentence on procedural grounds. The court did not address Siegler's actions, and Pribble's appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. But in June, Pribble appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, but in June, the justices declined to intervene. And I have to say, if there was overwhelming evidence in this case, I do believe the Supreme Court would have stepped in. So what that's telling me, and why I feel this is kind of going to kind of dovetail into why I feel like this article is biased, is because this particular defendant, this particular criminal, has been challenging the system, even with whatever they're saying was, that Kelly Siegler had done inappropriately, or they say that she. Death row evidence was entirely circumstantial, and it must have been up here. Suppression of evidence. So they're saying that she suppressed evidence. If she suppressed evidence and that was newly found, and it was evidence that was so substantial that it could weigh whether the jury would have convicted or not convicted, then yes, they would have to give him a new trial on that. And that's probably why the lower court did want to provide. Maybe they did find maybe wrongdoing of her. But when it gets to the appellate court, they look at whether the wrongdoing was so weighted that it would have overturned, that the jury wouldn't have found him guilty. That, if it's something stupid like she just forgot to give them a letter, that doesn't automatically guarantee this. Oh, thank you, Sonia. God bless you. 5 Bullhorn. Thank you. I appreciate it. God bless you. Merry Christmas. I don't think it's just, I don't think it's enough to overturn it. And that's what I think was being clear when the Circuit Court of Appeals, like, they're a higher court. They're going to look at everything that they can possibly look at to make sure that this is done appropriately. And they reaffirmed his death sentence. So whatever they had that they said Siegler did inappropriately, one, they found that she didn't do, but they said they didn't even address it. So they must have looked at this and said nothing that she could have done would have stopped him from being convicted. So whatever it was, whether it was a letter she forgot to turn over, maybe it was something more. I don't know. They don't explain it in this article. It would have been good if they said this was exculpatory evidence, but even with them lacking telling us what she withheld in this case, it almost implies they don't want to tell us, because if they told us, we'd be like, well, that's really petty. Right? So why wouldn't they list it in this article? So there's some reasons why I feel like this article is biased. That's one of the reasons I feel like it's one-sided, because they're not explaining this major evidence that she suppressed or withheld from the Pribble defense team. And obviously, not only that, but this case went before the appellate court, and the appellate court agreed to reaffirm his death sentence, not send it back to the lower court to be retried. So obviously the lower judge was wrong in his ruling. And therefore, they're trying to say that the judge in the lower court, according to this article, was correct in his ruling. He was not, because it went to the appellate court and they found that he was not correct in his ruling. That's how we know. So today, Pribble faces execution despite the fact that the case against him has unraveled. And so in this article, they're saying the case against him has unraveled. I don't think it has, because if the case truly did unravel, he would be walking right now outside of that jail. And he is not. He's actually on death row. Sorry, the United States don't like executing people that they feel is innocent. It goes against the fabric of our country. So even if it was circumstantial evidence, according to this article, it must have been some pretty powerful circumstantial evidence that convicted him. Remember, the judge doesn't convict him. The prosecution doesn't convict him. The defense doesn't unconvict him or doesn't, get the case dismissed. It's the jury. The jury has to be convinced that he did it. 12 people, unrelated to each other, from different walks of life, different backgrounds, different experiences. You have to convince those 12 people. And clearly that circumstantial evidence was satisfactory to those 12 people. So we have to consider that as well. The evidence was satisfactory to the appellate court. We have to consider that as well. So I don't believe his case is unraveled. A months-long investigation by The Intercept, and The Intercept is the one that wrote this article, authored by two females, including a review of thousands of pages of court records, show that Pribble's case contained numerous hallmarks of wrongdoing convictions from shocking, inept police investigation, which is unrelated to Kelly, if true, right? If true. We hear this from all defense attorneys, that the police did a horrible job at their investigation, right? Every single trial we go to, the defense puts those police officers under a microscope. They want their shoe size, they want their fingerprint, they want the DNA, and they want the DNA of their firstborn child, right? So the defense attorney, and they ostracize, like they put them and humiliate them on that stand, and saying, well, you're just a you're just the what do they call them? The roping off guy. You're just the guy that ropes stuff off, huh? Like, just condescending, talking to a decorated sergeant like that. So the defense team does that, right? We see it in every case. It's, we get a little hot under the collar when we see it done, especially to upstanding police officers that did everything like they were supposed to do. They're human beings. They're going to make mistakes, just like we make mistakes at our jobs daily, right? We're not perfect. Well, neither is law enforcement. They don't have, just because they put that uniform and badge on, doesn't give them superhuman power. It doesn't make them unhuman. And we as human are flawed. So we expect them to make mistakes. We just pray to God that the mistakes they make aren't crucial, right? Like the Major John Kaler case, right? The mistakes that officer made in the heat of the moment, with everything just kind of spinning around. And you could tell he was just really confused because he wasn't expecting to walk in on a quadruple homicide. So he forgot to read Major John his Miranda rights before questioning him. Big problem. Big problem. And he says it was because everything was just going on. I mean, even in the statements that we've got that are transcribed, you can hear in print, and it's hard to hear confusion when you're reading print, right? You could hear the confusion in the print. So if you can hear that much confusion in the print, imagine what it was like when it was happening. It was probably a hot mess of a scene. So, that was kind of a little more serious of a mistake that law enforcement has made, right? So these things that do go on, I do believe that, they do make mistakes. So we do hear of investigations, inept police investigations. They scream and holler that literally every single case, including Alec Murdaugh's case. To unsupported junk science peddled by prosecutors at trial. Here's the problem I have with this biased statement. Unsupported junk science peddled by prosecutors at trial. Every defense attorney has the right to challenge this, a right for a motion to suppress, a motion for in limine, motion for in limine. So this idea that there's unsupported junk science being peddled by prosecutors at trial, that should have been challenged by a defense attorney. If it's not challenged by a defense, and if it is challenged by a defense attorney as being junk science, obviously whoever presented this junk science proved to the court that it wasn't junk science. So again, biased article, they're not telling the truth in this article right up front, because we know what the ruling has been of the courts, and what they're alleging here are totally opposite. They're misleading their audience. But particularly alarming is the way Siegler weaponized the network of confidential informants to secure her case against Pribble, as a federal district judge found. So they're saying that she weaponized, but then they're saying that a district judge found that. But when I did my research, I didn't see any ruling that said that. Now, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things, especially attached to a name that's now very notable. It's you kind of get like a lot of the news stuff kind of clogs out all the old stuff, like our prosecutorial stuff. It kind of drowns that out, because now Kelly Siegler is cold justice, cold justice, cold justice, cold justice. It makes it very difficult to find this. And I didn't go to the PACER system to look it up, but I did find it interesting that they said a federal judge said. But they didn't say what federal judge said or where it can be found. Only that we are to believe their statement, which I've already found some major misrepresentations already in their article so far. So it's making it hard. Where is this at? I can't find it. So now I'm straddled with I can't find what they're referring to and can't corroborate that as true. So I don't know whether that's true or not, but in the article they say that a federal judge found that Siegler weaponized a network of confidential informants to construct her cases against Pribble. But I don't see any, something like that. If that were true, it seems like the attorney would have some type of reprimand, some type of penalty for that, from her state bar, or their governing, quality judicial commission or something of that nature. But I didn't see that either. But I like I said, I could have missed it. If anybody does this or knows more details about that, the specifics of that, if you have that, email it to me at bullhornbetty@gmail.com so I can review it. Now, in this particular case with Pribble, we talked about this man by the name of Michael Beckham. Michael Beckham used to own some gold gem plate buildings, or companies buildings. They worked out. They had workout machine and equipment. It was a gym. It was a gym. This is the same Michael Beckham, just so people are clear on who he is, because he is notable as well. And so Michael Beckham, who testified that Pribble confessed to the killings while they were in prison together in Southeast Texas. Beckham, who was doing time for audacious murder of a federal witness as part of a ring of informants at the same lockup in Beaumont, each trying to game the system in an effort to shave time off their sentences. Several informants offered information to Siegler before they had even met Pribble, according to the petition challenging his conviction filed in federal court. The petition detailed how Siegler encouraged Beckham to extract details from Pribble that would help her convict him, and hid his extent of the informants involved at trial. I don't think they hid based on what I'm reading here, they didn't hide the fact that they were using informants in Pribble's case, from what I'm reading. I mean, I've got this is from many, many years ago in our internet wasn't what it was back when this stuff was going on. I mean, it was 2004. Our internet was only 10 years old at the time. So it's been a little hard, but I'll keep working on it, make sure I get all these details correct. But this whole thing about the informant, yes, whenever you're dealing with any type of case, there are people that approach prosecutors all the time and say that they have information and that they have information on a specific am I buffering? Is it your end or my end, Unicorn? Because I don't see buffering on my end. I could be. I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. But in this particular situation, you not this one, in all of them, you have people that come forward and say they have information on a case, and they do that intentionally to try to shave time, to try to con or work one over on the prosecutors, on the people at the jail, whatever it may be. They're always trying to find a way to game the system and get time shaved off their sentencing. It doesn't mean their information is true. It just means they painted a really fantastic story, right? And this is a case where, I expect things like that. This was a high profile case that appeared. Kelly Siegler is a pit bull, and people were probably approaching her to get some time shaved off. Doesn't mean she was entertaining what they said. It doesn't mean she didn't corroborate that they were lying through their teeth. And she probably even corroborated that they had not even met the guy yet. And that's probably why she didn't use them, because it's not saying that she used them. It's just simply saying several informants offered information to Siegler before they even met Pribble. It happens. I've seen it happen multiple times. It doesn't just happen to Siegler. So, I mean, again, just a little bit biasness. And this is why I was getting hot under the collar and emotional, and I had to take that emotional hat off because I was ready to start screaming at this article. So I disagree with this part of it. But there's a lot more in this article that I understand their point, and I understand their point, and I can see how valid it is. And we do need to start asking these questions too. Yes, we do. So several informants offered information to Siegler before they even met Preble, according to the petition challenging his conviction filed in federal court. The petition details how Siegler encouraged Beckham, we already heard that, to extract details from Preble that would help her convict him, and hid the extent of the informants involved at trial. Now, they're only required to use the information from the informants that they're bringing to the stand. It doesn't mean that you don't have other informants in the investigation. I mean, go look at the first 48 hours. How many confidential informants do those officers have? I mean, it's something that they utilize. They utilize it because it gets the job done. Okay? That bottom line is, it gets the job done. Without the help of these confidential informants, there might be a lot of cases that go unsolved. So it is a good system. Can it be abused? I believe it can. I absolutely do believe it can. To Harvard law professor Alexandra Nadapoff, she authored Snitching Criminal Informants and the Erosion of the American Justice System. The role of informants in Prible's case is emblematic of a deeper problem that corrupts the criminal legal system. American criminal law has essentially created an underground market in which we permit the state to trade leniency for information. Prosecutors have wide discretion to avail themselves of informants who have obvious incentives to lie about what they know, a leading cause to wrongful convictions. Now, this is where I'm saying, you know what? As an outsider looking in, knowing what we watch day in and day out, is this possible? Could this be creating a major problem? Yes. Yes, it could. Because at the end of the day, we have people that are overzealous. We have overzealous prosecutors. We have people that try to stack the charges so they can go out there on a press release and say they got 120 years for this bad guy, to pat themselves on the back at the expense of a human being. And so we have to keep checks and balances in place to make sure that these laws and everything are fair. So I do understand it. Now, does that mean Kelly Siegler abused the system to get her convictions? No. It just means she used the system to get her convictions. And that's what it's there to do. So far, out of this entire article of them, bashing her over the head and saying how horrible she is and how she has all this horrible, prosecutorial misconduct in an effort to get her convictions, they haven't really provided any real receipts to support any of their claims that they're alleging in this article. They've had opportunities in several places, and I notated those to you, where they had an opportunity to provide a receipt in which somebody could reference. And on each occasion, they failed to do so. And I have to think that in an article this well written, that was done by design. Because so much of these negotiations and transactions take place under the table, the likelihood that anyone will ever find out is extremely low, Nadepoff said. I don't know, I absolutely categorically disagree with that statement there, because we've watched many trials here on this channel. And one of the first questions asked from anybody that's perceived as a jailhouse informant is, are you getting any kind of deal for this testimony? Literally is the very first question out of the defense attorney's mouth. After their name, what's your name? How you doing today? I'm doing okay. What are you getting to be here? Pretty much it's just like that. Oh, what are they paying you? What are they paying you with? So I disagree that the jury doesn't know that a deal is had, unless they're lying on the stand. Could they be lying on the stand about the deal? Of course they could be. But if that's the case, prove it. Don't assume it. Prove it. But I disagree with that statement, because I out of all the trials we've heard, whenever there's been any kind of jailhouse informer or anybody that is in the system at all, if they're in the county jail or in the federal jail or in the district jail or whatever kind of state jail, it doesn't matter, because every time whoever is wearing the orange suit, the green suit, or the blue suit, right, they're asked, "What are you getting to be here?" So I disagree with that. I don't know what court she's in, but we watch courts all over the United States, and that's the first of that. If it's not asked, then that's the defense's fault. If the question's not asked, that's the defense's fault. And because we reward police and prosecutors for arrests and convictions, which is true, that is true, we have a baked-in dysfunctional incentive for them to use bad witnesses, bad evidence, over and over again. I don't think it is. I don't think people wake up every day. Could somebody wake up every day and say, "Hey, I want to be the biggest name as a prosecutor in the country. Let me figure out how to do that and do devious stuff"? Yeah, there could be a few people across this country that think that way. And are actively doing that. But I have to ask myself, do I think this lady would do that? And while I don't know her personally, we only see the behaviors on the camera. We really don't get a preview into her life. But I have to think that what we do see, especially her history, where she grew up at, how she was raised, the fact that she was a go-getter at such a young age, I have to think, it seems like her whole life she followed the rules and did the things the right way. Why now would she start doing them the wrong way? I think is the question I would have to personally ask myself. Am I ever going to get that answered? No, it's a rhetorical question. But I still think it's a powerful one for the audience. Why now would she just now, after working so hard to get as far as she is, start tainting cases, to convict a wrong person? I don't think she doesn't appear to me to be that kind of person. That's all I'm saying. Could she be? Truth is stranger than fiction. Court records reveal that Siegler repeatedly used informants in murder cases despite reasons to doubt their credibility. Now, reasons to doubt their credibility is subjective. Okay? Reasons, they're in jail. Every single person, there's a reason to doubt their authenticity, right? And their credibility. Like, they're criminals. Sometimes there are just cases, there's no witness that isn't a criminal. There's no good witnesses in cases. I mean, if your standard is somebody being completely pure, not tarnished, right? Perfect, a perfect individual, to be a witness for a criminal case, you're probably in a very delusional state of mind, because most criminals hang out with criminals, work around criminals, so the people that would witness whatever crime they're doing most likely are other criminals. So sometimes you don't have any choice but to use criminals with credibility issues, right? But even witnesses with credibility issues can still be witnesses telling the truth. And that's what you need to make the jury see. Details of the Beaumont snitch ring only came to light after Pribble and another man Siegler sent to prison realized that she had rallied on the same network of informants in both their cases. Despite strict, limited communication between incarcerated people, the two men whose cases were otherwise unrelated managed to connect the dots. Siegler not only gained reputation as a prosecutor who was willing to help informants seek sentence reduction, but she also advocated for them even when she didn't consider their information reliable. Court records show. And again, they have an opportunity to talk about which court records, because what they're talking about is, these documents between the defense and the prosecution. And they're going to argue that it doesn't make it true. It's just their argument. Taken together, the records painting a damning picture of a prosecutor who cut corners, portrayed her professional obligations in order to secure convictions in weak or shaky cases. At best, Siegler was reckless in her use of informants and careless about scrutinizing the information they provided. At worst, as Pribble's lawyer argued, she actively conspired to use dubious testimony from a ring of snitches to win a conviction despite of knowing the case wouldn't otherwise hold up, framing an innocent man for murder. Siegler has denied any wrongdoing. She's declined to be interviewed for this investigation. A second grader could see you are biased and in no way inclined to listen to the truth or appreciate what really happened with these prosecutions, Siegler wrote in a response to questions from The Intercept. And I told you, and I have to agree with her. I took this article very biased. I agree with her hands down. It was a biased article. Like I said, I was angry when I read this, but I had to take the emotion hat off and listen to what this article was really asking about. It even though they're all over the place with their biasness for the Preble case, I still think he did the crime. I still think the courts believe he did the crime, and I think that's exactly why he's on death row, and the crimes were atrocious and disgusting. I took an oath to seek justice, and justice is what these defendants got. Way to go, Kelly Siegler. So we were going on to chapter 2 of this. That was the ending of chapter 1. I just wanted to really, because the first day there was other distractions going on, and it kind of unfocused me. So I wanted to bring us right back to where we left off with Monday. I don't even think we got this far in this article Monday, but I wanted to round it off because I wanted to step away from this article just a little bit and go into the Pribble case, because I think once we hear what happened, we'll understand what is going on in this case to understand this article, because we're going to be getting into the meat and potatoes of this article in chapter 2 called The House Full of Bodies. The House Full of Bodies. And there's some information you have to know about the Pribble case for you to understand what we're going to be discussing in this article. So we're just going to go through these and read these articles together. I've already read them. I think I got them in order. There's the guy right there. I'm sorry. You know, I judge people. He looks like a bad guy. Doesn't mean he is a bad guy just because you look like a bad guy, but he looks like a bad guy. He looks like a bad guy. And this is after 20 years. I'm sure he was a peach even 20 years ago. He is probably harder and meaner 20 years ago. Just FYI, harder and meaner. I judge people. I'm mean. Sue me. A federal judge on Wednesday ordered prosecutors to either bring new proceedings against the Texas death row inmate or release him from prison. The ruling means Ronald Pribble, 48, could go free in a matter of months. He was given the death penalty in 2002 for a 1999 deaths of 5 family members in Houston. A jury convicted him of capital murder for the shooting death of Esteban Steve Herrera and Nilda Tirado. I know I didn't roll my R, but you guys got it. And the death by smoke inhalation of their 3 children. Rachel was 7 years old, Valerie was 7 years old, and Jade only 22 months. In this article, it says she was 1. She was actually only 22 months. District Judge Keith Ellison granted Pribble's motion for relief based on his lawyer's argument that the prosecutors suppressed evidence and improperly handled testimony from jailhouse informants. So he's alleged that, okay? Let me read this again. Based on the lawyer's arguments, okay? Arguments. We don't know what evidence was proffered to support those arguments, but we know he argued them. Just because an attorney argues a specific position doesn't make that specific position true. They can write anything in these documents. Doesn't make it true. Doesn't make it true. Give me a second. I'm pretty sure it's my neighbor. Not my neighbor at all. Somebody knows who it was. Somebody said I'm a coffee clubber. Who? Yeah, my neighbor comes over here. He always seems to come over here when I'm live. So I'm like, I tell him this stuff. Coffee clubber. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Let me take this tab off. There we go. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. I just need my, what else do we have? Aww. We need those. What else do we have? Proof that tape still exists. Oh, dun, dun, dun. Hold on, I gotta do it. Let me find it. It's probably gonna make me sign back into it because I didn't have it up. It is. What else do we got? More tape. and a Hershey Santa. Whoever, they didn't tell me who this was. They just did their thing that they're the coffee club. We got plenty of tape. Tape does exist in America. Tape does exist in America. I got proof. This is called receipts, folks. This is called receipts. Okay, the tape. We still have a stockpile of tape. Okay, the real Me Too did not kill the tape in America. Okay, did not kill the tape in America. You guys crack me up. I gotta tell you, you guys crack me. You know what? You crack me up. All right. Oh, you know what? I keep forgetting. Aileen gave me a little mini bullhorn too. I'm gonna eat this. I'm sorry. Chocolate and me. Everybody's gonna be so jelly. Oh, that's a Santa. That's a Santa. I need to stop. I have too much fun here during the day. We got Santa's head though. All right. So let's go over to Pribble. They said, we already know what the defense lawyer said. It said it, she did everything wrong. And of course, she's a bad girl, bad. But it goes on to say Beckham's testimony was plainly the most compelling evidence that the jury heard at trial, Ellison wrote. But they're not saying his testimony wasn't true. I know who sent me this now. Thank you. So, I have not yet heard them say Beckham's testimony was false and misleading. That's one thing I haven't heard yet. Although the defense could and did impeach Beckham's credibility. That's what they said. They did impeach his credibility as a jailhouse Smith. I think they meant to say snitch. They did not have strong impeachment evidence, but the actual substance of what he relied on relayed to the jury about Pribble's confession. So he's saying that he impeached him, but he didn't have enough evidence to impeach him. Which is it? Again, I digress. Pribble has made a strong case that there is more than a reasonable probability that the exclusion of Beckham's testimony would have altered the outcome of the trial. Ellison gave prosecutors 180 days to bring a new case against Pribble, or he'd be entitled to be released from confinement. I don't think they ever determined that his because they still, out of all this stuff, never said his statements were false. None of it. Just that he was impeached as a witness. That doesn't say his statements are false. They never alleged his statements were false. Again, this guy's not giving me the warm, fuzzy feelings that I want to see of a person that's going to be walking out of jail and walking amongst us. I want to let you know what this man did was horrific. And he was convicted of it. And an appellate court upheld it. And even after all that, these people wrote this article. This Intercept was a biased article. I'll tell you that. So what happened is, let me just give you the Reader's Digest version of this case, because I know it. So this Steve Herrera and Ron, so we're going to say Steve and Ron, they were kind of in this unsavory deal with each other. They had hit 6 banks. They amassed about $46,000 from those 6 banks that they hit. Pribble was trusting Steve Herrera to use that money to purchase drugs and sell it so they can increase their profit. You can turn a profit quicker utilizing them because your profit markup is so much higher. I think the problem here is Herrera had a drug problem. I think they all had a drug problem. That's probably why they thought this whole deal made sense but it doesn't make sense to like normal people that aren't diluted on drugs. So correction on BHB link, I think, I don't know what link you're talking about. Let me get done with this chocolate and then we'll get on with this story. So unprofessional of me. Just unprofessional. You shouldn't have sent me chocolate. Worst thing you can send me, chocolate. I'll eat it. So anyways, they have this deal. They want to open up a topless bar. That's the goal of this man and one of the deceased individuals. They got into this illegal and illicit robbery scheme of these banks. They amassed $46,000. Herrera was taking that money and flipping that money and using it to sell drugs so they can amass a massive amount. I think what happened is they're all on drugs, and I don't think that they were able to save money, is what I truly believe. And, you know, when you're not able to save money, you start dipping into money that's not yours to help pay for your mortgage, your children, and all this other stuff. One way or another, it seemed like Pribble, at least for him, felt like he was getting the shaft. So he was over at their house where I guess this particular house, you know, several people always get together on a weekend or whatnot. And they should shoot pool out in the garage and just hang out and drink and probably party. Well, this particular night, one of the neighbors usually goes over there and said, hey, you know, I didn't go over. I had other things going on. I just couldn't make it over. He's like, well, at 10 o'clock, I could see that everybody was, you know, they were over there having a good time. But apparently something in the middle of the night, like wee hours of morning, I want to say the middle of the night, but it really was in early morning, you know, like around between 4 and 6 a.m. The neighbor comes out and realizes the house is, you know, where it was just having a party and some loud music. Now the music is blaring, just blaring. And so he walks over there and realizes that Steve Herrera is dead. Or no, he looks over there with the thing and he realizes there's billowing smoke out of the top of the house. And so he goes over there and he realizes that his neighbor is in the garage. And I think it was, I don't think he saw the other person. He calls law enforcement. Law enforcement goes in there. They find him. They find Herrera out in the garage. They find his wife on fire in the living room, and all three of their children are dead from smoke inhalation. And what ended up happening is this man here told law enforcement that him and Herrera's girlfriend, the mother of his children, decided to engage in, you know, sex type of relations. And that they did that in the bathroom, no big deal. It was while Herrera was gone to the store or whatever he said, you know, whatever his excuse was. He had his DNA on Herrera's, and not just his DNA, his sperm, in the throat of the woman that was shot and set on fire. So because of his statements, he never was arrested. Well, Kelly got a hold of this case and started to investigate it and talked to Nilda's, I think that's how you pronounce her name. I think that's her name, Nilda or something like that. Her friends, and they said that she had was just talking to them about how this man, and he creeps me out too. Okay, that face creeps me out. I don't trust his face. I can't even imagine what his aura is like being around. But either way, she had just told her friends how this guy was creeping her out. So you can imagine, you know, that was information that the detectives did not know. So you can imagine how difficult it is that her best friends are saying, wait, she did not like this guy. This guy creeped her out, to him telling the detectives that they were having an affair and they had just had sex that day. Doesn't make sense. So anyways, Beckham seemed like he was the real deal. Yes, he was a jailhouse informant, but I truly believe he got this man to talk, and here's why. You'll hear a very specific little thing in this article. We'll get to it. I don't know if it's in chapter 2 or chapter 3, but it's a little situation that happens between this guy here and Beckham, the jailhouse informant. And it was a reverse psychology maneuver that was done. And I believe it because of the way it was explained. And I'm not going to say too much other than that. It was just about the way that it was explained. So here's some more information about this. On the morning of April 24th, 1999, Steve Herrera and Nilda Tierra, I can't pronounce her name. I'll just say Nilda T, were both shot in their Texas home. The killer poured accelerants over Nilda's partially nude body and set it on fire. Why is she in the living room partially nude with company over? Doesn't make sense. The fumes from the mother being set on fire asphyxiated the couple's 3 children who were sleeping upstairs. Pribble immediately emerged as a prime suspect and was indicted on capital murder. Pribble and Herrera were partners in crime, robbing and dealing drugs, according to court documents. They wanted to open a topless bar. To finance their business venture, Pribble robbed banks and Herrera sold drugs. According to the court documents, Pribble robbed $46,000 from 6 banks. The relationship fell apart after Pribble accused Herrera of stealing $250,000 from him. That's enough to get you killed. He was shooting pool and drinking in Herrera's garage on the night of the murders. Pribble's semen was found in Nilda's mouth, according to court documents. Pribble claimed that he and T had previously messed around and had sex on the night of the murder, but T's closest friends dismissed this notion of an affair. They claimed Nilda had recently told them that Pribble gave her the creeps. She didn't like him and was tired of him being at her home. Doesn't sound like the warm and fuzzy reception of somebody having an affair, an illicit affair with this criminal partner of her significant other. Pribble confessed to the murders while in prison to Michael Beckham, a convicted murderer and jailhouse snitch who admitted to angling for lower sentence. Pribble told him Herrera took $250,000 of his hard-earned money and was going to kill me. This is what he says. He took $250,000 of my hard-earned money and was going to kill me, so I handled my business, court documents stated. Pribble was convicted and sentenced. Prosecutors argue at the trial that Pribble was the last person seen with Herrera at the house before the murders. Their struggling business ventures provided the motive, and the bullets that killed Herrera and T were fired from the same gun, and a fire was set to destroy physical evidence, including Pribble's DNA, according to court documents. Pribble's attorney accused prosecutor of suppressing evidence and training a group of jailhouse informants to set up Pribble. The Houston Chronicles reported U.S. District Judge Keith Ellison agreed with their arguments in an 88-page ruling on May of 2020. He gave them 180 days. But again, like I said, this was overturned by the appellate court, and this man is back on death row. Now, I watched a lot of stuff related to this, and this is how he was convicted. They keep saying that the jailhouse informant was the reason why he was convicted. It was not. Okay? It helped get his conviction. It helped solidify his conviction, even if his statements were technically impeached from the record, which I'm a little unclear based on everything I'm reading, whether he actually removed or not, I impeached or not. I'm really not sure, because they're saying that they didn't have enough impeachable evidence. So it doesn't sound like his statements were ever really technically impeached. But either or, he wasn't the most damning piece of evidence. The most damning piece of evidence was his sperm being in the throat of the victim. And the reason why they knew that had to have happened literally right before she was shot in the head was because of the amount of sperm found in her throat. It had to have literally just happened before she died. That's what convicted this man. That was pretty powerful evidence because she had just had sexual relations with her husband. I think it was the night before or the day before that. And there was still, sperm from that, but it was so low to evident that it was 2 days old. Apparently, according to the reports, there was so much that she didn't even have time to brush her teeth or rinse out her mouth. It is kind of gross, but that's what convicted this man. That is what convicted this man, not the jailhouse snitch. And I think that's why the appellate court overturned the lower court's ruling, because it wasn't Beckham that sealed the deal for this man. It was the DNA evidence that they're failing to bring up. And it's sad. It's sad. So this is where we are right now in the case. We're going to go into detail about this house full of bodies because as you just read with the little bit that I provided you, there's going to be 5 bodies. 5 bodies. And we're going to dive into the case a little bit further. I think this is an interesting case. I really do. And like I said, I was a little hot under the collar when I first started reading this article. But the reason why I decided to go ahead and cover it is because of this right here. And it's this statement and this statement of loan that really, it's challenging for me, but I think it's an important topic. And it's snitching, criminal informants, and the erosion of American justice. I actually want to buy that book. I want to read it. And I want to actually read it to you guys. I think granted, what attracted me to this article was Kelly Siegler. What got me emotional with this article is because it's bias. And so I really do want to, is this network of people being overutilized and improperly utilized? I don't know if that's the case. And I don't know, after reading this, even after I took my emotional hat off, I don't know if after reading this, I'm convinced that there truly was any wrongdoing other than normal and customary work that prosecutors are supposed to do and normal and customary work that defendants are supposed to do and defenses are supposed to do. So that's all we have time for today, guys. I hope you guys are enjoying these little snippets. We're doing our time in the morning at 6:30, and then we incorporated a 6:30 show at night. And now we're doing something a little off topic during the day that's a little bit different than our normal run-of-the-mill stories that we do. Our noon time is really our story time. It's our downtime. It's our unwinding. It's not the bickering and stuff like that. It's kind of diving a little more into more, I don't know, maybe, I guess, controversial issue. I don't know if this informant thing is really a controversial issue. I guess it could be, right? They are being used a lot in our court system. I think with us being a true crime channel, it's definitely something that we would want to look under the hood and figure out, because it's stuff that we're going to hear in trials if we're watching trials. So, good. Yeah. Perfect. So we'll be back here. We've got through all of one. This might actually be more than a 5-day skit, because it took us 2 days just to get through chapter 1. And I have a funny feeling it's going to take us at least a day and a half to 2 days to get through chapter 2, because we're going to want to look into some of the stuff. It's not just about reading the article. It's about whether this article is legit and it's factual. I have to be honest, after I read this article and I did some research, I agree with it in part. And there's a lot of parts that I don't agree with, period. But there's a lot of parts I do. So, I think it was very beneficial. All right, guys, we'll see you at 6:30. I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about a crime case at 6:30. I think we are. I'm not sure yet. crime and you want to come and talk about a case, like 6:30 would be the perfect time for you guys to come here. And it's hump day. Hump day. You guys got nothing better to do. You got a whole bunch of family. You need to escape. You got the in-laws in town, and you need a little bit of Bullhorn Betty. I got what you need. I got what you need. Come over here tonight at 6:30, and we'll get it, right? We'll get it. All right, guys, you have a great afternoon. I hope you guys enjoyed your lunch rush, and we will see you back real soon. Don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, y'all be safe. And please be kind to one another. It is the Christmas time. Show a little kindness, show a little love, and we say no to online bullying and hate. God bless.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.